guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chastity, and welcome. Hope you enjoy the ride. I have had so many of you message me and call me and text me and ask for another story time. So here we are in the corner. So there's not really a big disclaimer before I start this, so we're just gonna jump right on in. So as some of you know, I used to work at a pharmacy and I loved that job. Working in a pharmacy, you get a lot of big personality people. And along with that, you get a handful of stories that you can tell that's not illegal. And here's one of them. So this is when I first started working in the pharmacy. I was still a clerk, which meant I was checking people out when they came in. I was bagging prescriptions. I was supposed to know where things were, right? Just like a little bit of background. When we have a prescription that is packaged in such a way that it is too large to fit into one of our little plastic bags that we hang on the metal hooks, we put it on a shelf. That's gonna be important. So there's one day, I'm minding my own business. It's a regular day in the pharmacy, stressing as per usual, and it's relatively slow at this time, which doesn't happen often. But a gentleman comes in and he's looking for his prescription, obviously. So he gives me his name and we're looking for his prescription and we can't find it in the system. Granted, that happens sometimes. There's other spaces in our system in which sometimes prescriptions like get stuck and so we can't search it the normal way. And so I was like, okay, let me look in our inbounds, let me look in our data entry, let me see if I can find it, right? Well, then he starts to get a little bit angry because we have an automatic phone system that calls our patients when their prescriptions are ready. He had been called. Another disclaimer, our phone system was crap. It did not always call when it was supposed to, and sometimes it called people when things weren't ready. So I was like, wonderful. He gives me his last name and his date of birth several times. It's showing in our system that it's ready, but we have looked and looked in our bags and we can't find it. So finally, I'm like, okay, what is this drug? So I find the drug and I look at it and I'm like, oh, this is one of those things that can't be put in a bag. We have to actually put it on the shelf, and when you get here, we have to find it. And so he's getting angrier and angrier the longer this is going on, which I understand. I would be frustrated also, but there's only so many things we can do. So I finally figure out that that's the problem. So this man is starting to kind of like raise his voice at me, and I'm not okay with that. And so I politely say, sir, we're looking for it. We figured out what's wrong. We're gonna look the shelf. He's like, no, it's this. And he points to somebody else's prescription that's also on the shelf. And I'm like, yes, sir, I understand that's what we're looking for because it's the same packaging, but like it has their names printed on it on a sticker so we know who we're looking for. And I said, yes, sir, I understand that that's what we're looking for, but that one is for someone else. We're looking for your specific prescription. It has a sticker that has your name on it. And there's another girl who's still rifling through the plastic bags because that's where we keep the paperwork. We can't find the bag with paperwork. We can't find the box that has the drugs in it. Already off to a bad start. So he's getting angrier and he starts yelling, why is she looking there? It's obviously on this shelf. Why can't you find it? And very aggressive. And I was like, okay, whatever. We determine that someone has taken his prescription and put it in our return basket, taken the sticker off and put it back on the shelf. Basically unfilling his prescription without actually doing so in the system. So in the system it says it's ready, but they've put it back. And we're like, awesome. So because I am who I am, and for some reason at the pharmacy, I was the angry person lady. I got to handle all of the angry customers. I am trying to communicate with this man and explain to him that there was a mix-up in our system. I apologize profusely, and I tell him, sir, we're refilling it. There was a mistake and someone returned it. We're gonna fill it. It'll take us 2 seconds. If you'll give us just a second, we'll get you fixed up and get you out of here. I'm so sorry. The way that our pharmacy is set up is like, here is the counter where I interact with a patient, and then there's another counter where we fill all of the prescriptions and our pharmacist stands and all of that good jazz. So they're all over here and I'm standing in front of this counter. There's cash register, me, counter, him. So you are him, right? Sir, I'm so sorry. We're gonna get this fixed. This man, this grown man, So I walk away. The other clerk walks away because we're also handling other things. And I hear him walking somewhere. I figure he's going to sit down in our seating area and wait for just a second so we can fill his prescription. No, this grown man walks around our counter and taps on another person's prescription. Very angrily. He's like, "This is what it is." And I was like, "Sir, you cannot be back here. I need you to step back around the counter." I said, "Yes, sir, I understand. This is what we're looking for. You cannot be back here." So I usher him back out. He didn't get far enough to like cause an issue, but just far enough to like stress out every employee in the building. And I turned to my boss and I'm like, what do I do? Like, I don't know. Okay, sure. So we're getting his prescription ready. It's taking a second because we're having to reprint the label and she's having to print. It takes a second to fix this idiot. Like, whoever put it back is an idiot. I'm gonna put that out there. Like, for one, you always make sure it's done in the system. Two, you don't put anything back without checking. But we had like a revolving door of new staff who didn't exactly know what was happening, and they're all a bunch of dummies. Ooh, they frustrate me. I walk back up to the counter where he's still standing. He might have sat down, but when I turned around, he's standing back at the counter again. And I was like, okay, great. So I walk back over to the counter and I say, "Sir, we're almost done. If you'll give us just a second, we'll go ahead and check you out." This man, I kid you not, starts to walk back around the counter. He's gonna come back here again. And I was like, "No, we're not doing this." My anxiety level shot through the roof because if you do not work there, you don't go behind the counter. No. You don't do that at restaurants. You don't do it at doctor's offices. You don't do it at pharmacies. You don't walk around the counter. If you were not explicitly told by an employee, "Please proceed," you don't go there. It's simple as that. When I don't have my burger on time, I don't hop the counter and start questioning the chef. I don't start questioning the cook. No, I wait. Because that's how the world works. That is how customer service works. You take a number and you take a seat. He comes, starts walking back around the counter. And I will say this. I gave him ample opportunity to turn before what happens next. I said, "Sir, you cannot come back here. Sir, do not come back here. Sir, you cannot proceed." I yelled at this man like he was 2. This is a grown person. Like, has been on this earth long enough to know better. In like a normal everyday setting, he knows better than to do exactly what he's doing. And so this grown man starts to come around this corner and all you hear, "No, sir. You cannot come back here." I've never seen a grown man stop so quickly in my life. It's like he relived a traumatic moment with his mother in the body of a child. Granted, I'm 20 at the time, but that "no, sir" scared him so bad. He stopped, his eyes got really big, and he backed back around that corner. When I get angry enough, I will start to laugh. Pretty much like this. And I was so scared that I was gonna get fired for yelling at this man. And we had this big like drug dispensing machine. And so I like backed up behind it so it was blocking me from the rest of the people in the pharmacy. And I looked at my boss and I said, I didn't have another option. So all in all, I yelled at an old man like a toddler. Yeah, and that's my experience at the pharmacy. I don't want to do geriatrics. I'm done. I'm cool. I like teenagers. Nope. So he was no problem for the rest of our like encounter. I had someone else check him out at the counter because I was not about to be the one to do it because I felt like we might lose that customer. And so yeah, the rest of that encounter was super easy because right after that happened, our pharmacist finished checking it and we took it to the counter and he checked out with another clerk. And I hid behind the Parada and we never saw that man again. But long story short, that is the time that I yelled at an old man like he was a toddler. Because you simply do not come around the counter when you are frustrated with your customer service representative. That is not okay. and they will yell at you. And they have every right to do so. I don't really have a lot of stories from the pharmacy that I can tell due to confidentiality, and so that's probably the only one that I'll be able to actually tell you guys. Alright guys, if you like that story, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. If you want to see more adventures with me and all of my friends, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and while you're there, you might as well hit that little bell icon. It'll give you a notification every time that I post, which is supposed to be on Thursdays, but has not been happening recently, so I'm doing my best. I love you guys, welcome to the family, and I'll catch you in the next one. No, sir.